I mean, I was doing a little research, and I was wondering about the beginning of the project because I was reading that you weren't a big fan of the sort of taking people's songs and turning them into some sort of, review type thing. But did you know David Stern before he approached you about this?
I did not. I didn't know David or the other then young man whose concept this was, a guy named Michael Sheeman, and he and David were working as assistants on a Broadway show together and came up with this idea and approached me. Since that time, though, I've fallen out of touch with Michael. David and I have become good friends and actually, wrote another show, a Theater for Young Audiences show called My Son Pinocchio that Disney does, and we did that together, subsequent to Snapshots.
So, I mean, how did he approach you with it? Did he already have a storyline, or was it just sort of an idea, concept? And did he pick the songs that he thought would fit the mood, or how did that collaboration work?
Yeah, they basically David and Michael had just a concept, and there wasn't originally going to be that much of a story. There weren't going to be specific characters. When they first approached me, it was the idea was just to look at different sort of rites of passage. Hold on one second. Yeah, sorry. My wife was just handing me something, but I'll get it from her. To look at rites of passage such as, growing up and marriages and empty nests, etc. And it just started there. And then over many years, several years, it developed, and then it turned into gradually what it's become, which is what I think is a very interesting hybrid, and as far as I know, it's unique in that way, in that it is, in fact, a book musical, but the songs are not new songs. They're repurposed songs from other of my work, and but many of the songs, because they are now part of this new book musical, have new lyrics to them. So people who don't know my work at all can just go and see the show and experience it, as it is. And I think it's very funny and ultimately touching. But people who do know my songs, or some of them, can have the the interesting experience of hearing familiar music but with some different lyrics.
Well, I was wondering about that because I would imagine, and because I don't write songs, that, that the concept and how they evolve, and, there's a big emotional attachment to them. So I was wondering, what was it like to reimagine a song, in a different way after it's been memorialized in one of your musicals?
Well, it was fun, actually. It was, the sort of puzzle doing aspect of my mind has really enjoyed it. And, when I have on occasion worked with other composers, and most especially Alan Menken now, because we've done several projects together, we are working from, basically we work music first, which means that, Alan has devised the music, or at least some of the music, and then I am setting words to that music. So from a process point of view, it wasn't that different. Again, there was, a title for the song and existing music, and then I was writing words to that music. So, once I sort of put the original words out of my mind, it was a writing process I'm quite familiar with and comfortable with, and it was fun.
So, not all of the songs are from your musicals. I was seeing that they come from your album Reluctant Pilgrim, and
yeah, there are a couple of songs from the album that, basically David and Michael, and then subsequently David himself, went through all my work to see what what it was felt would work best within this new context of the, this new story.
Did because I mean obviously the album was not story driven in the way that a musical is, but I was wondering, were those songs somehow easier to incorporate into this new storyline, or?
Well, actually, that's a very insightful question, and the answer is yes. They required no new lyrics whatsoever. Because they were not as specifically character and story driven. No one's actually ever asked that before, nor had I really thought of it in those terms before, but your insight is entirely correct.
Well, gosh, thank you. And I was wondering, any new work goes through its stages, its workshopping and that sort of thing. Did audiences play any role in how it was ultimately formed?
Enormous, yes. I mean, this has been a long time coming, and because we worked on it periodically over, over a decade, I think. David's actually grown up and had a family of his own during the time that, that we were working on this. And basically what would happen is from time to time a regional theater, would do a production, and, we would go out to see it and make some changes and adjustments. And, it took a while until we felt we really had it right. And I think one of the reasons it took so long is that, as I say, it is, as far as I know, a unique format. I don't know of any other instance where, existing songs have been put into a story format and the writer has gone back and rewritten words to the songs, and in some cases, revisited the music in terms of arrangement and approach in order to try and make them, fit within this new structure. There are certainly lots and lots of examples of what we call jukebox musicals.
Right.
But they tend not to have, they either don't have a story, or the story is very, very loose, and therefore you can just kind of plug songs into them at will, or the story itself is about the development of the writer, like Beautiful, the Carole King musical that's playing now, where basically those songs are not incorporated into they're not trying to tell a story, they're just, it's basically, and then she wrote.
Yes, exactly.
And then they tell her life story within the, in between doing the songs. But this is really its own thing, and that's what's made it fun for David and me to work on. And it seems to be fun for audiences, particularly audiences who who know some of the songs going in. It's I think it's interesting to them beyond the show itself, just to see, how this puzzle got put together. But as I say, you don't need to know one single song of mine to go and enjoy the show. It really functions on its own.
I was reading one thing that you were saying, that the show is good for all ages, but particularly married people.
Yeah, I mean, it is about a couple that's been married for a while, and we find them, about a year after their son. They've had one child, and he's left for college, and so they're dealing with that situation, and then they sort of revisit their lives. And while this particular couple first met as kids, so you do kind of get through different stages of their lives and their relationship in the different stages. I think it speaks most compellingly, at least that's my experience having seen it with audiences, I think it speaks most compellingly to, to a married couple who've been together a bit.
Well, I know that Denny is excited to have it on the Circa 21 stage, and I want to thank you so much for taking time to talk with me today. And I really appreciate it. And now I can say that there's a no separation.
No degree of separation.
No degree that I've actually spoken to you. So I thank you so much for your time.
Well, yeah, great to talk with you. Thanks for the call.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, yeah, take care.